If you've been interested in getting into smart home automation and after the holidays you've got some extra cash, this is going to be the easiest way to step into the smart home lifestyle. And it'll cost you less than 25 bucks. Alright, if you've been at least remotely interested in kind of trying out some smart home gadgets, this is the easiest and cheapest way to get started. Just think, you can have Siri or Alexa or Google Assistant, depending on which platform you've got at home, which we'll talk about here in a second. You can have them turn devices on and off for you. And you can also have some of those automatically happen for you. And if you choose it right, you don't have to buy anything else except for the smart plug, which we'll get into in a second too. So the reasons why you might want to try a smart plug are threefold. First, you just want to remotely control something, from outside your house or even like from your bed if you don't want to get up. Like for example, a Christmas tree. You can say, "Hey Siri, turn on the Christmas tree." And there you go. It just works. The second reason is maybe you want to automate something so that you don't have to think about turning it off or on. So for example, I've got an espresso machine that takes half an hour to warm up. And before I got my trusty iHome, I would have to stumble down the stairs while I'm brushing my teeth to flip on my espresso machine so that by the time I was ready for breakfast, the machine was hot and I could have my cup of joe.
Good dream. No. No.
But since I've got this, I've set an automation inside of my home app so that it turns on automatically every morning at 6 a.m. Now, if you're really feeling frisky, you could even pair it with other smart devices in your house to make what are called scenes or automations. For example, when I say goodnight to Siri, it'll not only turn off my espresso machine, but it locks my smart lock on my front door. It'll turn off the Christmas lights and also turn off any other smart lights that I have throughout the home. So which smart plug is the best out there? Well, listen, there's a lot out there, and I'm not going to tell you which one you have to go and buy, but there are some key principles that you should keep in mind when you go shopping. The first is that you want to make sure it's compatible with your automation platform of choice. So there's three main platforms out there, for at-home automation. The first is HomeKit, which is Apple's. It's built into every Apple device, and that's you can use Siri to trigger HomeKit devices. The next is Amazon's Alexa. So if you have an Echo at home, you might consider building up your devices using Alexa compatible devices. And then Google Assistant also has its own platform. And if you pick it right, one reason why I like iHome is because it works with all three of them. So if something does happen down the road and I for some reason want to change my platform of choice, this one is going to work. And by the way, iHome is not sponsoring this. I have purchased a handful of these myself just because I like the products. So there's that. And the reason you want to stick with one platform, or try to anyway, is because that's how you can make these automations happen, so that when you get home, certain things happen, or when you say goodnight, certain things happen. So as you're building up your smart devices, you want to keep those all try to within the same platform. Next, make sure it doesn't require a hub. For example, IKEA just came out with a handful of these smart devices, but you have to also purchase a hub that sits on your network to talk to other IKEA devices on your network. And in my opinion, that's just extra devices and an extra expense as well. So with iHome, it just works out of the box with your smartphone. And lastly, make sure it's a reputable brand. So I've got iHome. I know Wemo is another great one out there, but make sure that whatever you do buy has been around for a while. It's got good reviews, and it's going to be compatible with other platforms down the road in case you do switch. For example, Amazon Basics just came out with one, but if you look deeper, it only works with Alexa. All right, in terms of setting it up, each brand is going to have their own app for your smartphone. And the one tip I will give you is to set up the basic settings of your new device, like the name and the Wi-Fi network, using the manufacturer's app. But after that, hop over to your automation platform, hop into there to finish configuring it. If you want certain automations, like to happen at certain times of the day, or if you want to assign a special scene or name to it as well. All right, and one other tip in terms of setting it up is to name the device for what is going to be plugged into it, not for the action you want to take. I heard of someone that named like their lights lights on, so they thought they could. It was confusing. What I would recommend is just call it like espresso machine or Christmas tree, and then your assistant can understand when you say turn on Christmas tree or turn on or turn off, you know, espresso machine. So hopefully that makes sense. All right, listen, whether you're a techie like me, or maybe this is like the first device you've really bought outside of your smartphone, I really think you're gonna love this. Heck, I bought one of these for my dad last month, and it changed his life. And we're talking about a guy who still has a library of laser discs.
The laser, the key to expanding the horizons of home entertainment. With Pioneer Laserdisc, the world is at your fingertips. Advanced technology that glides on a beam of light.
Hey, don't knock it. Those were legit in the 90s. Except the part where it would stop playing halfway through the movie and you'd have to go and like eject it, flip over the Laserdisc, and then put it back in to proceed. It was kind of like a built-in intermission, you know, if you will. All right, so what questions do you have about home automation? You know, I really think this is a great way to get started. It's super easy, super cheap. You know, it's a great way to start building your smart home, and everyone can use one. I mean, everyone's got a lamp or some kind of machine or appliance like a kettle of water that they'd like to be able to have turn on at the same time, turn off at the same time every day, or to be able to remotely trigger it from your phone. Like, seriously, if that's not the future, then what is? So let me know if you have any questions. If you like this, hit like, please hit subscribe, and we'll see you guys next week.